But I'm just walking up to the holding area. It is Friday evening, about 6 o'clock. This is last qualifying session. So on the big bike, I am right on the cusp of position and lap speed as to whether I've actually qualified or not. So what I really need to do is put a faster lap in tonight. But if I pressure myself, I probably won't do it, and then I'll get annoyed and it'll all be terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and I'm going to thoroughly enjoy riding around the best circuit in the world, and if it's fast enough, it's fast enough. If it's not, it's not. C'est la vie. The other game of tonight is rain during the day, so there's a few damp patches, which is obviously ideal, and it's a little windier than normal. So I'm actually going to go out on the twin first, because they've sort the sessions around, so the twins can basically find the damp patches and let the track dry a little bit more before the Superbikes are out. So that's an added bit of fun, but it'll be alright. So I best probably put my helmet on and think about riding around with my motorbike. Hollyoaks Rob has just finished warming up the twin, and there's a bit of a difference for tonight because the baffle's back in the pipe. Because when I've ridden it at a short circuit, we've not had this sort of throttle glitch thing, and part of it might be sort of, you know, gas flow related, throttle related. So we've put it basically back to the short circuit setting, so it's a slightly different map, and it's got the baffle in the back. The baffle makes less than 1 horsepower peak and does actually help it a bit through the mid-range, so we'll ride it and see what happens with that.
Right, it's Friday, last practice. Schedule's been moved about a bit due to a bit of rain this afternoon. The twins are now going out first. Here's Dave just lining up, ready to go. He's in a good relaxed mood again. Looking forward to this one.
Guys, I've done 2 laps on the twin, and there's still a throttle glitch with it. And basically you can either go, the only way to seem to get around it is either 100% throttle or off. It seems to be just when I roll the throttle off, that's when it upsets it, which isn't brilliant, because basically riding with an on-off switch, which luckily with not much power isn't the end of the world, but it's not perfect. And there's also damp patches out past Ramsey through the real bumper bit to before Ramsey even, and then Ramsey hairpin's quite damp, and it's damp up through Tower Bends, and there's damp patches at Guthrie's. And I was riding around going, I don't want to commit to those bits. And so I'm not going out on the big bike, because if I can't commit over those sections, then I'm not going to go any faster. So there's not really any point in going out, because I need to go faster, and I'm not comfortable doing it with the track like that. So I'm pulling it for the night, which means if we get in for the Superbike race, we get in. If we don't, we don't. C'est la vie. It's a slightly odd situation in the garage at the moment, because we don't know yet whether I've actually qualified in the sort of top 50 to get a grid slot tomorrow or not, which is a bit odd. But we are doing the prep on the assumption that I'm going to race a motorbike, and I can do the warm-up lap irrelevant of whether I'm on the grid or not. So we've got a scrub tyre on a Superbike back wheel to go in for the warm-up lap, and I mean the bike is actually ready to go, because we didn't ride it tonight because there was damp patches a bit. So the boys are busying themselves, and it will take but a moment, because the back wheel is easy to do. And then we'll just have a quick check round some other bits. I've got another screen that I'm going to prep up because we may have a number change tomorrow. Chuck a few extra bits in the van, and we'll be job sorted. Home in time for a good night's sleep. So one of my little prep jobs tonight is to take a spare screen with me, because the chances are, if I'm in the race, I will be starting on a different number. And so to save me peeling the number off the screen that's on the bike that already has a stone chip, I have a spare screen, and all I had to do tonight was drill holes in it, because I hadn't previously done that. My trick for drilling holes in in Perspex is to drill really, really fast, but with very little pressure, so it almost just melts through. And it's a long time since I've broken a screen. So that means this will be broken tomorrow. So it is Saturday, so it's race day morning on the Isle of Man, but it's not race day for me, because unfortunately I didn't actually go fast enough to get into the top 50 to actually get in the race. But I am still doing the warm-up lap on the Superbike, because I want to go and ride around the Isle of Man on a superbike, really. There is a possibility I'll still get on the grid for super stock, or depending on if people break down and stuff, maybe even the senior. So the practice lap is useful, but mostly it's going to be fun. So I headed into the paddock this morning. I am disappointed that I am not going to race the big bike. This road is bumpy. But I woke up this morning and I'm considerably more relaxed because I basically just get to go and ride around and have some fun instead. So we're going to Paddock, we're going to have fun, and then we're going to go and find somewhere to spectate. So I've put my leathers on ready for like the practice lap. They call it the warm-up lap, but because I'm not racing today, it's just practice lap. So it is literally just a chance for me to go and ride around on my big bike and enjoy riding the Isle of Man, which is brilliant. When I found out last night that I hadn't got in for today's race, I wasn't particularly surprised. I knew my pace in practice wasn't really quick enough. I was just short of 118 mile an hour lap, and I expected even before I came that really the cut-off was probably going to be 120-ish. So I'm a bit disappointed, but I rode during practice week to a limit I was comfortable with. Yeah, okay, you could always do the thing where you could go faster, but I think I rode well, I was smooth, it was controlled, and I didn't take unnecessary risk. A few years ago, I would probably have dug in a little bit more and had, less margin for error, but it turns out getting a little bit older, probably getting a bit more sensible, and having 3 years off riding around here don't make you faster. Certainly didn't make me faster. So it's a bit of an odd situation today because I'm disappointed that I can't go race, but I woke up this morning and I was just so much more relaxed because there was no pressure for today. So, I mean, there is still a possibility that I will get to ride in super stock and maybe even senior, because my lap speed is quick enough to get me in the qualification criteria. There's just more than 50 people have done that lap speed, and the fastest 50 of those are on the grid. So that is the way of it. So my plan for today is to go out on the big bike. It's just one lap in the sunshine round the Isle of Man, enjoy riding around on the bike. It's not timed, so it doesn't matter how fast I go. I can just literally go out and enjoy riding the best tarmac in the world, and then might take the back roads up the mountain somewhere, find somewhere to spectate, and for the first time ever I might actually spectate a TT race, and then sit in the corner and probably get grumpy. The boys are looking relaxed, the sun is shining, and basically it's just sort of a play lap on the big bike.
Wheelies and skids.
Yeah, skids and wheelies, apart from my wheelies are terrible, and if I skid it I'll probably do something silly. So
Can you not just go to Peel and get an ice cream?
ooh, straight on a Balacrate, straight for ice cream.
Yeah.
Like that plan. We're rolling.
Yeah.
Oh right. It's a professional job this, So just done the warm-up lap, practice lap, and that was just a bit of fun basically. Imagine like the best track day you could ever book, because we're going to go, well, we're going to close the TT mountain course in the sunshine before a superbike race, and you basically get to just ride around it as fast as you want. I saw one or two people pulling over, looked like they were having bike issues. I passed somebody and it was only a few seconds slower than my sort of quali speed from a standing start, with a couple of flags and damp patches around the hairpin. And yeah, I just enjoyed that. No stress, no pressure, just riding around on a superbike in the sunshine around the Isle of Man. Ain't bad going, really.
You do look cool in your Roy Burns glasses.
Catwalk pose.
Which way to the beach?
Doesn't really work in leathers. Me and Eric were actually discussing the, not qualifying in the top 50 thing yesterday and whether I'd do the warm-up lap or anything else, and Eric made a good point.
Which is, if someone said that you couldn't do this, but you happen to win the lottery, and then you come across the bank's government and said, how much does it cost? And I'll pay it to let us do this. So you don't necessarily need to be able to race it, but if you had the money to do it, you would want to do this at any cost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So the fact that I still have the opportunity to go and do it, I'm going to damn well do it.
Without even winning the lottery.
Exactly. Well, we are winning the lottery in life.
Indeed. But yeah, no, definitely. It's disappointing how things have panned out, but as you just said, having a lap round here on a big bike in the sunshine, excellent value.
On the mountain, not quite made our vantage point straight away, but the Hellwood Rise is over there, so we're just waiting. We can hear the first bike coming, so I assume that's McGuinness unless he's been passed on the road. You probably can't even see that, but that is a motorbike going really blooming fast. Oh, I wish I was out there. Josh Daly. Kibosh! I want to be out there! It's a pretty good crowd that have come all the way up to Brandywell to watch. We had best part of probably a mile's walk to actually park the van and get here. It's a great crowd, but I'd like to be the other side of the fence. So this is Sunday morning. They call it Memorial Lap. It sort of started off as the Simon Andrews lap, and he's now sort of Simon Andrews and Chewy and, you know, loads of other people. So it's really, really cool. Nice big ride out for a load of people. And this will carry on for several miles of bikes. See them all the way down in the distance, all the way to Crosby. A good few minutes later, we're still going. This must be nearly every bike on the Isle of Man. Pretty cool. Right, so we're now about 15 minutes into the convoy. Ooh, we're Gillow GFR. Right, it is Sunday morning after the slightly disappointing Saturday. The thing we have to do first today is make the twin work properly, because we have a bit of a throttle glitch thing, and we think, or I think, it's the rapid bike module interrupting the ignition signal. So we're going to modify this by taking the rapid bike module off and putting a power commander on and seeing if that fixes it. So we're down the dyno, there's a few other bikes waiting, we've been here a while. There is also a bit of a crowd today because no actual track action going on. So hopefully in the next half hour or so we'll know what that's doing with the power commander on, and hopefully it'll be better. That's it, Frankie is just strapping it onto the dyno, and then he gets the fun and games of being in an enclosed space with a noisy motorbike for a while, and I get to put my feet up. Happy days.
As far as I'm concerned.
It's tip top. Cool, right, Frankie's happy with it. A full map, he's put the limiter in that we needed at 11,000, and it's actually doing a little bit more power than it did the other day, so that might be Frank's wonderful work, or it could just be that it's loosened in a bit. So we're now at 96.4 horsepower.
I'd say it's Frank's work.
Yeah, definitely Frank's work. Yeah, so cracking, we are ready to go the next time we get to ride it. So it's Sunday afternoon, and we've just got the grid sheet for the Superstock race, and I'm not on it, because of course the qualifying sort of 50 carried over from the rest of the week. So unfortunately I've still not made the grid for Superstock. I have put the bike in the van in case anybody has any problems in the Super Sport race earlier in the day. You just never know what might happen. It is the Isle of Man. I have also had a proper Saltgitter corner because I am very disappointed. I wanted to race my motorbike and currently that's not happening. But never mind, we move on. The boys are taking the front wheel out of the twin. That was supposed to have a warm-up lap tomorrow, but because the sidecars got stopped the other day and rescheduled for tomorrow, we've had to lose the warm-up lap. So I don't get an extra run out on the twin, but it has been mapped and everything seems to be working well, but I won't find out how well it rides until Wednesday morning warm-up lap before the race. So it better be right, because then there won't be a lot of time to prep anything else. So it's all not quite going as I'd like. But it could be worse, so we shall carry on. So the boys are just taking the front wheel out the twin because we have a rear wheel with a new tyre on that will do sort of race day, but I'm going to put a fresh front in it and that will sort of bed in nicely on the warm-up lap. But at the moment it's looking like tomorrow could be a bit of a dull day for us. So it is Monday morning, time for a bit of a sit rep and a recap. In about 10 minutes time the Super Sport race is going over 3 laps. Then after them there's a sidecar race for 2 laps, and then 3 o'clock this afternoon there is a super stock race for 3 laps. Now I've done a qualifying speed fast enough to be eligible to do the super stock race, but I'm not in the top 50, so I'm not on the grid list. After the complete farce of Superbike the other day, where Barry Ferber was 10 minutes before the start, got taken off the grid, and I believe Joey Thompson did as well, for them to put John O'Perry on the grid, but not Davy Morgan because he wasn't ready because they hadn't told him in time. I thought I'd better go and see if there's actually a reserve list. We've been asking this for several days. Nobody seems to know. Today's response was, come back in an hour, but the gist of it was, oh well, if you just push your bike through scrutineering and be ready, you might get a race if somebody else doesn't turn up. But of course you can't actually go through scrutineering unless you're in that day's race, and you'd have to be issued a new bike number, and it's all just not organised. This year it's all got a bit to pot. But we have the bike in the van. I have my fingers crossed. I don't actually expect to be racing today, but I'm here. And having spectated the other day, I've done the spectating thing. Now I need to be here. I need to be in the paddock, seeing what's going on, ready to go. And I think I might go up, watch the start of the Super Sports. Icky's on his 765 Triumph. Connor on his Paddock 600. Jamie Coward. He'll go well on that little Yamaha. He's on form at the moment. Jamie's on form, isn't he? Right. Miko there, ready to go. James on. Ready for it? Yeah, they're ready for it. Right, I can hear the first bike setting off at the start line. So this is the routine. Next few riders along, warmers off. Hey, James is ready. Good luck to him. Big Bry. Here we go. There's a Scotsman over there who actually spends money to the holiday. How we doing, Al?
Very good, Dave. Thank you very much. All good to go?
Yeah. Right. Craig Deep's bike ready to go. That's it, Crow Show on one of the True Love Boys bikes, well, from a couple of years ago, so it's a fast bike, that one, but I feel it's a bit big for a 600. Right, Tom Whedon, good luck Tom. This is it, everybody's starting to move along the road now. It's getting busy. This is normally the point where my nerves start to calm down now. So once you're on your bike and you're pushing down the road. So then Ben, are you more nervous pushing the bike or sat on the bike?
Pushing the bike's easy. It's easy, I haven't got to do anything.
Chris is the nervous one then. You ready for it? Good luck, man. Go! Lincolnshire legend Gary Johnston, fresh in from Supersport racing, looking quite fresh there, Gaz.
Do you reckon? Well,
For an old boy.
for an old boy that's silver fat, not a bad race, Dave. A bit peed off, if I say the truth. Set off bike was a little bit overgeared, it felt a bit flat on the acceleration. Bike got going better as it went on. I think the temperature dropped and it let it give it a few more ponies, but messed the pit stop up, bike wouldn't start, and it dropped me from like P7, 10 down into blooming P15, and I didn't come back, but hey oh Dave, some of us got to race.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing that in, Gaz.
No.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, mate.
It's just turned into all action because Luckily, Eric was walking past the scrutineering bay with his Obsession Engineering t-shirt on, having an ice cream, and one of the scrutineers collared him and asked why my bike hadn't been put through scrutineering. Eric explained to him it's because I had not been told I was in a motorbike race today, and it turns out that they don't know whether I'm in the race or not, but I can scrutineer my bike on my original 52 number, so at least that will give us an option. So Rob must be getting stressed because he started sniffing petrol. I'm awake! Yes, exactly. So we don't actually know what's going on, other than the fact we can scrutineer a bike, and it gives us something to do. And 1 hour before the race start, we finally got a decision from race control. 2 of the lads who were through with us, they have got on the grid, but unfortunately they filled up like the last couple of places, so I'm basically 1 spot off, which is disappointing. But at least some of the lads who originally were told they weren't racing are racing, so good luck to all of them boys. Pub? It's on the better now. At least we've managed to send Rob in, so he'll do his first pit stop of the week with Forrest. So when he knackers that up, he's not knackered my pit stop up. He's basically like, you know, getting the nerves out of him, innit? Well, we know lots of people on the grid, but we're really, really good mates with Forrest. He's riding Eric's little super twin they built last year as well. So Rob's doing his pit stop with him, Eric's helping him as well. And so I'm going to do the pit return road signalling so that they know when he's coming in. So that means I get to stand around and actually watch some action. It turns out I'm not really made for spectating, so at least this way I am a bit more involved.
Just sitting next to the exhaust pipe of our Kibosh Atmosphere manufacturing plant.
Oh, excellent, excellent. You are, you know, breathful of Kibosh.
I've got so much Kibosh on board, I've got a headache.
Oh, excellent. Well, good luck with that. So that's Jack Russell, Michael Russell, and he's actually competing in every single race this week. All the solo races, Superbike, Superstock, Senior, 600 both races, Super Twin and the sidecar races. So he is having a very, very busy week, and he's basically surrounded by people all the time now because he's busy. The other end of the scale goes Jim Hind, Mr. Jackson, who is, I get the impression, enjoying the quieter side of the prep before the race. That's it. Mum and Dad are with him, his brother's with him, chilling. Eric, I see you've been walking up and down the grid.
I've just been rechecking my mathematics skills. I did get a B in GCSE in 1989, but I can still know how to count. Apparently you weren't allowed to ride because there was 40 bikes on the grid. 50 bikes, sorry, I stand corrected. And you were one of 4, the other 3 boys let it go. Having just walked from the front of the grid to the back, and to the back to the front, so double checked, I counted 48 bikes. So to me that means there's 2 spaces, so somebody somewhere doesn't know how to count to 50.
Well, it's too late now. It has annoyed me,
Yes.
but we're going to concentrate on the race that is going, so we're going to look after Forrest and root for him, and then have a paddy later.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the TT feedback email to come through, and that should be fun.
There's not long to go before you go through the gantry. Forrest has asked me for words of wisdom. I told him to pin it. So my job now is to stand in the pit return road, but at least I have good company because Hickey's team aren't that far away from us, so the legend that is Pete Clifford. See, not just relying on the app, we're old school as well. Now there is a sensible man. So, Forest boys over there with Rob and Eric. So Eric's doing fuel, Rob's doing screen cleaning, and then Forest normal boys are doing his other stuff. So I just have to stand over here behind the fence, and when I check on the live timing app where he is, I'll just shout across to them. Or do some sort of, you know, animated version of Belaf Bridge or Ramsey or some nonsense like that. Here we go, Mickey D's in. There we go. Having a bit of a check round. Oh, they've got ready, but they're not using it because you're not allowed it. But if they had a problem, they put it in and find about it later. The pit stop does take a while. Icky's another there. It's all go. Mickey D's going. Rutter's gone there. Hickman is currently race leader. Now goes David Todd. Connor's in. Icky's out. Right, come on then, boys. Gentle pit stop that. So here we go. Icky winning. David on third. We're just waiting for Connor in second. There we go, Connor in as well. I think Hickey didn't know how to turn his traction control off. Go Forest! Sadly, on the last lap of the Supersport race, Davy Morgan had a crash up on the mountain and died of his injuries. Now that unfortunately makes 3 riders this week, or this fortnight. Mark Perslow unfortunately crashed and died in practice, and then sidecar driver Olivier Lavarelle, I hope I've got the name right, unfortunately he crashed in the first sidecar race. So I thought I'd have a little sort of chat about my thoughts on all this. Now, I didn't really know Mark Perslow. I'd met him in passing and he seemed like a real nice guy. Olivier on the sidecar, I don't think I'd ever met. I don't really follow the sidecars particularly closely. But Davy Morgan I knew pretty well. He'd been racing decades. He was one of those stables in the paddock where you knew if you were somewhere near Davy, you were having a pretty good run. He has been so fast and sort of so consistent for so many years that it's difficult to think of him as not being here anymore. He always wore a bright pink helmet because he was always raising money for breast cancer research. And he was the archetypal road racer. He wasn't in it for the money. He wasn't in it for the glory. He was just, a normal guy who wanted to chase his dream and wanted to live this life of going road racing. And he'd spend, he'd give you the time of day and he'd have a chat with you and he'd be friendly and, if you saw him in the bar, you'd have a beer with him, and he was just a real good guy. I think I actually might have slightly annoyed him the first time I ever went to Oliver's Mount, because I was riding a Superstock 1000 ZX10 and I'd qualified on the B grid and it was 50 quid to win the B final, and I managed to win the B final with Davey right behind me. And it turns out he had a bit of a tactic where he'd do like the heat races and he'd go fast enough that they'd let him into the A final because they knew him, because he was Davy Morgan. But because he'd technically not qualified in the A final, they put him out in the B final as well. So if he'd won the B final, he'd win 50 quid and then these lads could get pissed on the boat home and, it didn't cost him anything. What he didn't realise was that I think it was a 6 or 7 lap race and he thought it was an 8 lap race, and they don't put out a last lap flag. And I beat him and he was sat right behind me waiting to overtake me on the last lap. So I think I slightly annoyed him that I'd cost him 50 quid. But it was always, a bit of banter between us. And he's just one of those guys that... He was your mate in the paddock. and you want to hang around with him because he was cool, and it's sad that he's gone. But he is gone, and so are Olivier, and so is Mark. And some people will say it's a waste, and you know, they make a reasonable argument. But for me, I have the choice to come and do this. We all do. There is no pressure. There is nobody making us do this. This is not going to war. We don't have a government behind us telling us what to do. This is our choice to go out there and take as much risk as we want to take. And the reward for taking that risk is this incredible adrenaline rush and potentially your ability to write your name into the history books and the glory of it. I don't expect to write my name in the history books, but I want to ride here because I want to have that choice to do these things that are risky. Because if you ban motorbike racing around the Isle of Man, how long before you then try and ban motorbike racing or even riding a motorbike, or riding a horse, or doing anything with any risk? If we're not careful, we'll sanitise everything too much and we won't really be alive. And that to me would be a complete waste. So yes, it is a risk, and yes, we are very saddened. I'm very sad at the losses we've had, but I want to have that chance to make that decision to go and do these things. If you don't like it, leave us to it. So thank you for watching. Tomorrow I will be racing my little Super Twin Aprilia, which I cannot wait to do. And in the meantime, raise a glass to Davy Morgan, Mark Perslow and Olivier.